Hey friends, it's Deanna here, and today we're gonna sew up the Oasis bathing suit, and I'm excited because this one is so cute and I can't wait to make it and wear it. But before we get started, let me remind you about our fun fan giveaway that we're doing monthly. We are giving a $50 gift certificate to Ellie and Mac. And so you can go ahead and buy all of these awesome patterns and get to sewing. And all you have to do is subscribe to our channel and comment below, and you will be entered for the drawing monthly. So go ahead, go pause the video, subscribe, and comment. And then continue to watch the video so you can see how easy it is to make this suit. Alright, so we're going to get started. I already cut out my pattern, and I cut it out using my Ellie and Mac Oasis pattern. And so now we're going to get started. Now, this is my neck binding. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it wrong sides together. And with my iron, make sure that you already tested it, that it's not going to burn your fabric. You don't want to burn your precious swim. So I made a crease, a memory crease, and then I'm going to grab my two edges and I'm going to go up to that crease. So my bottom edge up to that crease. And then I'm going to do the same thing to my top edge up to that middle crease. We're technically making kind of like a binding, kind of like what, it's really hot. So now I'm going to grab it, and now my two sides are in. I'm going to fold them together. So we're going to make that like a binding. Well, it is a binding. So now I'm folding it together, so I can create all those creases. And what I'm going to do is, since we're not working with it, why am I blowing my finger? Since we're not working with it right now, I'm going to just leave it pinned and put it aside because we're going to come back for it. And now I did it to my neck binding to show you how to do it, but you also have to do it to your other bindings, your arm and your other 3 bindings that you cut out. But I didn't want to go ahead and do it on video so you could see me just steam. So just go ahead and do it to the other bindings, the same thing that we just did to that neck binding. And now we're going to move on to our bodice. So I do want to put some padding on some cups underneath my bathing suit because it is a flat bathing suit, and I think I would like the extra coverage. So I'm going to make that extra little piece that's gonna go in there so I can fit the cups in there. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna make like a circle, half a circle, about 1 inch wide. So I just drew my little half circle. It doesn't really have to inch and a half to 2 inches. It doesn't really have to be anything that's like, it's okay. It's just enough for the padding, the little pad to go in and pull it out when you're washing it and stuff like that. And then I'm going to go in with my serger and finish that half circle around. You can do that with a serger or a zigzag stitch. I'm using my serger because I just like it. But this fabric is really flimsy, so you have to be very careful. Finished, and now I have my binding right there, and it's finished. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my other lining, and I'm using the same fabric as, well, I have this panel, but I'm using a piece of the panel for the backing because it's really kind of see-through. And so I didn't want it to be see-through, so I figured I'd just use that as my backing. So that's why it's face up. That way it's like a double layer on my fabric. But I'm gonna grab this one, and I'm gonna, on the back, I'm going to attach it wrong sides together. And all I'm doing is I'm just gonna baste it on. So it becomes like one lining. It's not 2, it's just 1. But yeah, I wanted to have the extra coverage, so that's why I did the same color as the back. So all I'm gonna do is baste it on. You can baste it on with a zigzag stitch together, okay? So it becomes one piece, one backing. So I'm gonna go ahead and baste that on, and then after I baste that on, I'm gonna turn it, and I'm gonna do the back of my first lining. So this is my right side of my lining in the back. If you're not doing a double backing for to be able to put a bra cup on there, you would just do the wrong side. You can put the wrong side of the lining up and then put the wrong side against it of the bodice front. So it's outer. So it's wrong sides together. And then we're gonna pin it and we're gonna baste them together as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do both of those steps. No, I don't know why I'm pinning this first. I'm gonna go ahead and do both of those steps. First, I'm gonna baste this one together. If you're not doing the double lining for the bra cups, you don't have to do this part, but I'm gonna do it. And then this is the part you have to do, is put in this one on top, wrong sides together, and then basting them on. So I'm gonna go ahead and baste that on, both of them on, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, now that these two are basted together, as you can see, it's all basted. The liner and the outer. Here's my little holes where I insert my pads, my bra thingies. So now what we're gonna do is, I already did it on this side, but I'm gonna do it on this side to show you. We're gonna grab the side and we're going to gather it. I'm just doing a long straight stitch, a basting stitch to gather it. You can do that, or you can do your preferred method of gathering, whatever that may be. And we're gonna gather at the width of that side piece. See that side piece? Now the straight area must match with the straight area of your bodice, so you will know that curves down. Okay, so we gotta gather it that length. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to tie off the end on one side, because from experience, when you try to put it on, it might ungather, so you wanna make sure it stays gathered. So I'm just tying a knot in the one end. And now I'm gonna pull and gather. I'm gonna gather at the width of that and make sure it's kind of even. Okay, and now I'm gonna tie that end. Because like I said, I don't want those gathers to come apart, so I don't want them to come apart at the top or at the bottom. So now they're flushed with the same size, if you can see right there. So I'm gonna put it right sides together on top of that and pin, and then I'm gonna serge it on. You can do a stretch stitch, whatever you want. You're gonna serge those, you're gonna sew those raw edges together to sew it on. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Remove your pins as you go so you don't end up pinning yourself. I mean, breaking a pin. Alright, now that is on both sides. Now, I am going to do it again because I didn't go far enough to hide that zigzag stitch from the back, and I want to hide it. So I'm going to do it again a little bit closer because I didn't use my seam allowance. I was afraid to be too close, so I went a little bit farther away. So I just went over it again to close that gap so I don't have that seam allowance right there. And so now it is gathered at both ends. Oh, this is gonna be so cute. Okay, so now what I wanna do is, you can go ahead and remove that gathering stitch if you want. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it now so I don't forget about it. You can do that later. It's really not that big of a deal to remove it later, now or later. Or whenever you want to go ahead and remove that so you don't have all these layers right there. So you'll remove that. But anyway, let's move on. No time for that right now. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, now that that's done, we're gonna do our binding. And this is gonna work the same way on all the different bindings. Remember these little binding tubes that we did at the beginning? This is where they come in. And these are all my long ones. Here's my neck one. So I'm gonna show you on my neck one. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna turn it the wrong side, and usually we always sew everything on the right side, so this is kind of different to sew it on the wrong side. But we're gonna pin it to the edge of our swimsuit top to the wrong side, and then we're gonna sew it on. Zigzag stitch or your serger right along that edge. I'm doing my serger. Oh, you guys, I love my serger. Okay, so now that I've done that, and this is what you're gonna do on all these bindings. So once we get this, this is good. So now it's open, I'm gonna turn it. You can steam it if you want. And then now it's gonna flip back in and flip it right over, okay? So I sewed it to the back, okay? Now I'm gonna flip it forward. I'm gonna fold it on that first crease, and then I'm gonna fold it down on top. Whoops. Fold it on that first crease, and then fold it down on top. Can't do it with me standing up. Just like so. Then you won't be able to see that crease in the back or in the front. Then you're gonna use your preferred method, stretch stitch, and you're gonna sew that on. I'm using my cover stitch, so you wanna make sure you pin it, and then you're gonna sew it on. I am kind of sad I do not have this color thread. I've looked to see which one is closest. I have white, and I don't know that I want to use white. So I am looking to see if I have anything a little bit closer to that color, and I don't think I do. I have this blue, but it's kind of too bright. And I only have one of those, and then I have gray. Do you think gray will be better than white, or do you think white will be better than gray? I think I'm just gonna go with the white. I hope I don't regret it. I don't have any other color that would match it, so I'm just gonna go with the plain white, and I hope I don't regret it later. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm doing it right now with my cover stitch, but if you don't have a cover stitch, no problem. You can do it with your zigzag stitch, or where's my foot? Or double needle. It all works just fine. Alright, I wanted to show you this one. And actually that turned out pretty good. You can see it right there. You can see on the back it's just straight. So now we're going to do the same thing for the other sides, but first we're going to grab the sides, and let me make sure. Yeah, we're going to grab the sides, and we're going to fold in 1/2 inch and sew it together. And I'm going to also do my cover stitch that way, so it has the cover stitch look all around, because what we're going to do is we're going to do this, and then we're going to put the binding over it. So 1/2 inch, you can steam it down, which I didn't do, I guess I should. Makes it easier when you steam it down. What are your plans for the summertime? Where are you going? Tell me where you're going. Tell me in the comments if you have plans. What do you do during the summertime? We love going to the beach. And so that's what we're doing. We're going to the beach. We're going to the river. We do all these kind of things. That's what we love to do. What are you doing? I love hearing your comments. It's so neat to hear from all of you guys. Alright, so now that those two are in, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my bottom one. And we're doing the same exact thing. Let me make sure I grab the right one, because I did the same thing that I did to the neck binding. to the back and the arm and the side binding. So I'm gonna take all these pins off. I just had them on there so that it would stay. And we're doing the same exact thing. So I just wanna show you real quick. We're gonna open it up and we're gonna go all the way. Let me make sure yeah, on the bottom we're just going all the way. Yeah. And there's gonna be a little bit of excess, but that's okay. Might have cut it wrong. I'd rather it have a little bit of excess than not enough. So wrong side along that edge. And then you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna sew this on, serge it on, or zigzag stitch it, and then we're gonna fold it over and encase it like we did from the front. Okay, so yes, the excess, there's a little bit more excess, but the excess is gonna come back and loop. So let me go ahead and do that. That way I can show you how to do the little loop. So I'm just going to sew it on. The wrong side of the body. Make sure you're catching all the layers and nothing else. The layers that you need to be catching and nothing else. Okay, so then now that I have it right there, you can steam that down to bring it down so it stays down when you're trying to put it on. And I'm folding that in and up, like we did on the neck one. And then when I go to sew it on, right here on the X's, all that X's I had. Let me finish up. Oh, this is gonna be so cute. I can already tell. Okay, on this X's right here, I am going to fold it over. Now it's a little bit longer. I think I cut it. I tried to cut it on the fold, and I'm not very good at math, so I probably cut it too long. But it's about an inch. I'm gonna leave it about an inch after that. So I'm just gonna cut the rest of it off. So it'll be like about an inch. And then I'm going to fold that into itself, just like a bias tape still, and I'm gonna fold it over to make that loop. So when I sew it on, when I do the zigzag stitch or whatever it is that you're doing to sew that back on, you're gonna catch that like a loop. Oop, I guess I better center it right, or I'm gonna be able to see this zigzag stitch from the back. I'm gonna fold it over like a loop. Overlap it right there. So I folded it and I overlapped it in the back. So now I'll have this loop right here where I can put my ties. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same on the other side as well. And fold it over. So I have that little loop. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll do it with my cover stitch as well. But after I do that, I'm going to do my straps. And so let me go this cover stitch and then I'll show you the straps. All right, so now that I've finished my binding at the bottom, we're gonna do the side binding. And so see how that loops over, and now it's like a little loop right there where your binding with your straps are gonna go through. So I'm gonna do for the other side, for the top, I already did one side, so I'm gonna show you how to do the other side. And it's gonna be the same way, just the binding is the same way on the wrong side of the bodice. But we're gonna start at the edge, we're gonna leave it a inch so we can turn it and do it like the loop. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. So we're gonna go ahead and pin it to the wrong side of the fabric, right side of the strap to the wrong side of the fabric, to the wrong side of the bodice, I'm sorry. All the way. Only to, obviously the front, and it is gonna go up to right here to the edge, to where it ends. So you can see, so just like that side strip right there attached to it, we're gonna go ahead and sew that on. On this part, you can use any kind of stretch tape you want to use, because you're just sewing it on. Making sure that it's being attached at all places. All the way around. So excited about this. I already made a bunch of other things for swimming. I made the waterfall one, bathing suit pattern. And anyway, so now we're turning over and we're going to do the same exact thing we did with the bottom strap. I have a lot of bathing suits this summer. I'm so excited. So I've got a lot to choose from. And my little guy, I made him the high tie board shorts and the radical rash guard. So he's all set as well. And up here, when we get to where the top is, make sure your binding is folded right so you don't see any of the other edges. And we're gonna keep going when we're stretch stitching all the way up. As you can see right here, all the way up. I kept going all the way up. So you're gonna go from the bottom all the way up your strap, all the way. You just keep it folded like the fold over elastic. So we just keep going all the way down, okay? So we're gonna go all the way down that stripe. Make sure it's all folded nicely so you don't end up with a bump. At first, it likes to try to come apart. Don't you let it. You show it who's boss. You're the boss. You can do this. I'm going all the way down. What bathing suits have you made? What Ellie and Mac bathing suits, other bathing suits have you made, and which ones do you want to try? Also, do you sew for your kids? Do you sew your kids' bathing suit? Or what do you do? Tell me in the comments what you do. Is this your first time with swim? Are you a pro at swim? I want to hear all about it. Almost there. Gonna finish these straps up and then we'll be done with our bodies. And then we just leave our bottoms. Alright. So this strap is done. How cute is this thing? And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna fold this one over and sew it right there to make that loop. Okay, I'm just going back and forth with it. Zigzag stitch. All right, and clip all these threads. Not the best at clipping threads, and then I end up having threads all over myself. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this one over at the end, both of them, at the raw edge at the end. Trim those pieces, fold over 1/4 of an inch, fold over 1/4 of an inch, and sew it together. You can do a zigzag stitch, you can do it on the other one as well. Careful you don't get your finger caught. Oh man, that would be awful. Okay, trim those things, hairs. Well, they're not really hairs, they're sewing machine hairs, thread. And we're done with our bodice. Look at how cute this is. And we're just gonna thread it like it shows up on the picture. We're gonna go over this way, we're gonna go in right here. Then we're gonna come this way and we're gonna go in on the bottom one. I'm looking at the diagram on my laptop to make sure I do it right. Now, if you're doing the longer straps to wrap around your bodice, you just cut the longer straps. I did not cut the longer straps, I did the shorter straps. So it's just a regular straps on the back. Come on. And then the last one. There it is. Straps on the back. How cute is this thing? And then we're gonna tie it. This is our back. And our front. All finished with our front. Now we're gonna do our bottoms. And I already did this to my liner, so I'm gonna do it to my outer to show you. But we're gonna do it right sides together, my back and my front, and we're gonna sew the sides together, both sides together, and the crotch, the edge of the front and the back together. Like I said, I already did it to my liner. But if you haven't done it to your liner, you gotta do it to your liner as well. Outer and liner. I'm using a white liner because I didn't have enough of the other one. Hope it's not going to look hideous. So here's my liner. It's white. So now I'm going to turn my outer right sides, and I'm going to turn my liner inside out, and I'm going to fit it wrong sides together into it. So you can see I'm pinning wrong sides together. Oops. First at the seams. And I'm going all the way on the other side at the seam. Just clipping this thread. There are pins everywhere. And then I'm going to go ahead and pin them at the top. They should just line up nicely. So then when you go to sew it on, it should just line up nicely. And I'm going to do the same for the legs. At the seams. And at the other seam. And then I'm going to sew them on. So we're going to baste them on with a stretch stitch at the legs and at the waist. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Stretch stitch around the legs and around the waist, okay? Wrong sides together, okay? All right, so now that it's binded on, as you can see, I mean not binded, now that it's basted on together, I'm gonna turn my bottoms inside out. I'm gonna grab my elastic and I'm going to overlap it 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going with a zigzag stitch back and forth to put those together. And now we're gonna attach my elastic, and I did that to all my elastics already, and I'm going to attach it. So I grab my my bikini leg, and I'm going to pin it at the one seam on the top. You can grab whatever seam, but I'm just doing the top. And on the front, you're not stretching, you're just following and putting it on right like you would regular. On the back, you're gonna stretch a little bit. So you're gonna stretch a little bit right here to fit it, okay? Because that's where you kind of want it to cinch in at your bum. And then we're gonna sew that on with that zigzag stretch stitch. You're gonna do the same for the waist. You can quarter it if you want. You're gonna pin it on and stretch it a little bit. Find those quarters. Sort of stretch. You know what? I think I cut this one too long. Sometimes I'm this one, I cut it an inch. I'm gonna show you this right now. This is where it's supposed to hit. I just want to make sure that it's a little bit tight. So that was good. I measured it earlier and I forgot to take it off. When I went to cut it, I did like an extra. I don't know why I did like an extra half an inch, and I forgot to cut it off. And now when I was just putting it on, I remembered. Yeah, remember that. It was too big. And we're pinning it to the outside, to the wrong side of our bikini bottoms, of our bottoms. I'm like, what is it called? It's your bottoms. And then we're gonna zigzag stitch it on. All right. I'm gonna zigzag stitch that right on. So I can show you, oh, my thread broke. So I can show you what the next step is. My thread breaks at the worst times. All right, here we go. So now I'm attaching that on with a zigzag stitch. Zig-zaggity, saggity, zig. All the way around. I'm so excited about these. So excited. Okay, so I asked you if this was your first swim. This is not my first swim, but this is my first year doing swim. Last year I was too chicken. I had just learned how to sew not that long ago, and I was just too chicken to do it. I'm gonna do the same for the leg, but just for sake of time, I'm gonna show you on this. Instead of doing the leg, I'll do the leg later. It's the same way. We're just zigzagging it on, and then we're gonna fold it in. Just the width of the elastic, fold it in, and then we're gonna sew that on. And I can do stretch stitch, double needle, any kind of stretch. I'm going to do my cover stitch. If you don't have a cover stitch, I say save for one. And now I have been saving for a while for one, and I just got a beginner's, it's a brother. It was
one of the more inexpensive ones, but it still works great. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm just kind of hemming it over, giving it a finished look. I'm gonna show you that and we'll be done. That's it. That's all there is to it. Not too bad, was it? Tell me the truth, did it look like I struggled? It really wasn't. It really isn't that hard. You know, I was so afraid of working with swim for the longest time. And I've heard horror stories of how hard it is, but it hasn't been super hard. Thankfully, Ellie and Mac patterns are just so easy to follow. And I had a great experience on my first one, and then I went on from them. Not looking back. So here it is, finished. Turn it.
There it is. Isn't it so cute? There they are, my bottoms. Here's my top. And my suit is done. Done and done. I just need to finish this bottom, this leg, and I'm done. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever of anything I did. Let me know what you think of the suit when you try it on. If you're not part of our Facebook or Instagram page, please come join us. We'd love to see your makes and see what you create, and you can see what everybody else is creating and get some idea of what to do. Please let me know if you have any questions about anything I did. Again, please comment, like, share with your friends so they can see what we're doing over at Ellie and Mac. And remember to subscribe so you can be entered to win that giveaway. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great summer. If it's summer for you right now, if it's not, get ready because summer will come. Or maybe you take a summer vacation, go somewhere tropical. But anyway, I hope you have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye.